Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I can't believe this effing weather. And welcome, hi, thank you all very much for coming to the Gallery Cabaret. Everyone's like, I'm not even gonna bother you. Hi.
We gotta take our mittens off first.
Everybody has to take their mittens off. I've done the best I could to try to dress in India gear since I was gone, and I hope that everything went well. Hey, I just dropped off my shawl. I hope everything went well 2 weeks ago. And my sidekick can tell me all about it later, but what a pain in the butt this weather. And the thing was, it was 80 degrees in India, but the haze from the smog that was everywhere didn't really make it like a Florida sunny day or anything like that. And then, as a woman, you still had to wear long pants and have your shoulders covered, and that's why I said this is closely resembling, because even if you had a long skirt on, you had to have leggings on, because you can't have your legs showing off to anybody, so this is why I'm all getted up like this. Happy 2015, how's everybody doing?
Pretty good.
Yeah, hey, it's good to see everybody, and what's he doing sticking around? Hi, hey, now it sounds, what was that? It sounds more reasonable all of a sudden. Thank you very much, Mr. AV guy. Thank you to the AV man. I have 2 new issues of CC&D and Down in the Dirt that came out on February 1st, and I forgot to bring them along to tell you all about them. So in 2 weeks' time for our next feature, you will get to hear things from a bunch of other people that I would read for you toward the end of the month. But the best I could do before we have 2 phenomenal, really, really unique, really groovy, cool features from Joffre Stewart and Dan Weinberg. Please give it up for our features. Oh yeah! I know this weather sucks complete donkey ass. I don't know what it sucks. It sucks bad. But the thing that I've heard people say is like, well, you know, I don't know if I can get my family. Oh, they're out of town. They'll do something. Well, it's comforting that I happen to have these things on video, so we can have it not only as a YouTube video clip, but as a feature podcast. So for the next 2 weeks, we're going to have Joffre Stewart and Dan Weinberg podcast, which makes me really thrilled. So I think that's a cool thing to be able to, because people actually do. I asked, I had them check it out once. I said, are people actually looking at these podcasts? Because the YouTube clips, if people look at them or not, that's really irrelevant, whatever, how many hits it gets. And I had the server tech guy check it out. And other than spam hits and stuff, it seems like there would be on average 1 download of a podcast every 45 minutes. On average, which is like a lot for like poetry, which I'm like, that's awesome. So if you're thinking, oh, what, this is what it'll turn out, or I don't know with this bad weather, it's really cool that we'll get it out there so that everybody will be able to see it on later dates in the future. I thought I would read, because I didn't bring anything poetry related, and my India earrings are quite weird and dangly in my face. I thought I would read just a select few things, but I was hoping that John could get behind you. I don't know if he's listening. It's my purse. Could you bring my purse to me, because this is relevant for the little bit of, I did a bunch of journal things about what happened in India, and the first one I didn't happen to have written down, but I know it, so, and it relates to my purse, so I wanted to bring my purse along to share this with you. The first 2 days I was there, I was in Delhi, and we went to Agra and saw the Taj Mahal, and I was with Jen, and we had a tour guide that would bring us along, which was really convenient, because he was saying, oh, this and this about the Taj Mahal, which, by the way, a lot of places consider it the 8th wonder of the world, and, well, it's one of the only monuments that you know of, I think, that exists ever, that is not about, oh, these are my conquests, this is how awesome I am, look at how big my palace is, blah, blah, blah. This was actually about love. This whole thing was dedicated to the Queen at one time, and this whole thing is all dedicated to her, and there were spires, there were 21 of them, because it took 21 years to actually put this thing together. And it was a whole really gorgeous little thing, and I thought this was really awesome. And at one point, I'm walking with this big old purse, which has my Saturn emblem from my last totaled car on it. It says Saturn on it. So I'm walking with this thing on my backpack, and I'm walking, and apparently the tour guide saw my purse, and he looks to Jen and he says, well, at least we know where she's from. Which I thought was the funniest thing ever. This is why I need to have my prop for that one for you. But I thought, well, I have no idea what I've got here, but I have the wrong things here. So I walked down the street. I've got the wrong section here, so I'm going to find out. I don't have my things with me. Sorry, I'm going to have to pull this away because I have different sections for different things. And I'm going to be waiting, hopefully, for my first open micer, Bob Rashkow. Otherwise, if he's not out of the washerman ready, I'm going to be calling up. I'm doing this in case Bob Rashkow, in case Bob Rashkow isn't around. It's going to be Paul Ryan as Docs. Oh, there I see you. It's hard to see in the light. This is what happens when you're famous and you look in the bright lights and you can't see anything to save your life. But I thought I would just read a couple of these little blurbs, and this one was written at 2:41 p.m. on January 13th, which is actually 3:11 a.m. here, because it's 11 and a half hour difference. Someone this morning swore that they would never come back here to Visakhapatnam in India, and they would never bring someone they cared about here. He was shocked that I actually came of my own volition. But I guess if I'm here, and if I'm worried by being female and being considered a second-class citizen and not knowing the language, well, if I'm worried, take baby steps, because I know I'm strong, and I won't allow anything to happen to myself because I know the right steps to take. I've got time to figure this out while I'm here. Who knows? Maybe I'll know parts of this place like the back of my hand and be missing the ambiance of Visakhapatnam streets by the time I leave. I later read, and I find it fascinating because I explain to people that there's an 11 and a half hour time difference, because India is a really huge country and they didn't want to have two different time zones, so they just made the whole thing half hour in between. So the whole country is 11 and a half hours difference from where we are right now. This is something about seeing the things around the country, because I was going there for being a vegetarian for 20 years. It was my anniversary, so we're going to see that. And I'm like, hey, I want to see cows because the cow was sacred there. And he's like, yeah, there will be cows just hanging out in the streets and stuff because, you know, you're not going to claim ownership over a cow. So on the end of this one day, I did get to see a decorated cow. I mean, I saw cows on the streets or in dry brush areas while they were looking for any food to eat, and that's a relatively common thing here. And I just wanted to see, though, a tricked out cow for the Bengal holiday. That's a holiday celebrated in southern India. See, the last of the approximately 3-day-long harvest festival is to decorate cows. So we were jokingly saying, pimp my cow, looking for a decorated cow to photograph anywhere. And there was this man with a cow wearing jeweled harnesses. The cow, not the man. The cow was wearing jeweled harnesses and necklaces with colorful blankets over his back. And there was another man that was with him, and he's banging on a drum. I took a few pictures, and they told me to tip him and take more pictures. So I took a 10 rupee bill out of my pocket, which is so little money. It's like $1/6 of a dollar, I think. And, you know, it's so little money. But then I saw in a store that a toothbrush was only like 18 rupees. So maybe this wasn't that little here for them. So I gave him the bill, and then he started moving the cow's head slightly so it would look like it was dancing to the drum beat. Of course, I took more pictures then too, but I suppose that's not the same without that drum beat and that motion of dance, but you get the idea. I'm going to like do little blurbs of things about India throughout the night because I'm not doing poetry. I'll just tell you India stories because I've got them. But in the meantime, we're actually getting poetry from somebody that's host-esque in this place. So please, mwah, give it up for the Bobster himself. Give it up for Bob Rashkow. Well, I mean, I could read all poems of mine. I don't know what that.
So you got some stuff.
Well, I have some memorized. But this is all about you, my love.
Whatever.
Okay, this first one I recently saw the movie One Potato, Two Potato from 1964, directed by Larry Pierce, and it had a very profound effect on me, so I wrote a poem about it. This is from the point of view of the character Frank Richards, who is played by Bernie Hamilton. I don't know. I'm just an average guy, I guess. I enjoy hot dogs and ball games like all the rest, and I believe in the kindness of fate. For my ideal woman, I'm willing to wait. This one just got here. Landed a job at our place. I think she looks mighty keen. Too bad she's of the white race. We walked through the park. A cop made us leave, but she seems quite content, so there's something to believe. My daddy won't like it. He's full of mistrust, but I'll win him over if I feel I must. We'll have a kid we can call our own. With Mommy and Pop, he'll feel right at home. And we'll leave the factory far behind. Why should we care? Out of sight, out of mind. We'll raise son and daughter right here on the farm, where side glances and gossip can do us no harm. But oh fuck, oh damn, something's heading this way. It's her lousy ex-husband come to ruin our day. He wants his daughter back. He's taking us to court. Oh, don't they see that he can't give her support? The court is afraid, concerned for her life. The judge says if we keep her, she'll have heartache and strife. So now she's got to go. Little brother no more. Only every other weekend can her mom knock on their door. Now we're all of us distraught, deprived, hurt, and fighting mad. For now she'll learn to hate different folks in the footsteps of her dad.
Wow, very good.
And this one is called Golden Arches. Your kind of place? For a soda, a burger, a little break? The city is so cold, frozen over with malice, resignation. The frothy music keeps playing, background to 100 soap operas. The twilight sky betrays no future snowfall. But patterns evolve, lives change. Meals are digested in the grand scheme of urban TV screens. I'm not loving it. Clowns in a 100-ring circus, eager, hopeful faces, stoic, indifferent noses, pointed toward the evening's television viewing, or, if you're lucky, a hand to hold in yours that lets you know it's all right. Just chill with your soda or your beer, or work until 2 a.m. The old fart in the corner recites, recounts, pronounces, announces. He was surrounded by comrades for a few minutes, then deserted. What happened? His kind of place. Thanks.
Wow. Very good. Bravo. Really, very good. I like it. Very good.
I feel weird because I'm not reading poetry. I'm just reading parts of journals. But blink, blink. My Paul Ryan's up next. And he's got a book release thing on February 27th, and I should be saying something about it because I don't have the schedule in front of me, but he asked me to be one of the readers for it, and I could make it, and that's really awesome because, what is it called? Shout it out. What is it called?
Destruction instructions.
Destruction instructions. I like that a lot. So, it's on Lawrence, and he's going to tell you about that, and that's really cool. So I had to give props to that before I read whatever these journal notes are. So more Indian notes for you. It's always fun to be able to say that it was a previous day. This was on the 14th at 12:17 p.m. IST, India Standard Time, or 12:47 a.m. here on the same day. This morning, we looked out the window, waiting for the sun to rise enough to take pictures of the temple. But we had to go to breakfast too early in the day to really make temple photography. At least it would look cool if we got a good nice shot of that white temple. I'm sorry, I'm babbling on. So we talked about the ships that were always along the beach right by this hotel, because there was a naval base that was right along here. And there was always at least one ship parked right outside the window at the Bay of Bengal. Yesterday, there was only one destroyer ship. This morning, there were like 4 of them. And at this point, John couldn't decide of the 4 of them if they were destroyer ships or frigate ships. Then I asked, frigate ships? And he said, yes. So I asked, you mean like the frigate birds in the Galapagos Islands? And he said, yeah, the bird's name came from the ship's name. Because the frigate birds, ships that saw these birds flying alongside of them while they were at the Galapagos Islands, they decided to call them frigate birds. So I went to the Galapagos Islands and learned about the frigate bird, and then on a later trip to India, I learned about the frigate ship. Apparently, only if I travel to other sides of the world do I get to learn about anything frigate related. Oh, at another time. Oh, I won't tell you times, because you don't really care. Sorry. This is another entry. I walked down the hill toward the main street, felt bad about all sorts of things, so I turned to walk toward the statues of warriors and poets. And I was walking along the side of the street, and I started reading the statue plaques in English versus the Hindi plaques facing the streets. I noticed one of those golf cart petrol rickshaw cars. I should interject. There are these things that look like golf carts, but they're made out of petrol, and they have 1 wheel in the front and 2 in the back, and they call them rickshaws. They have rickshaws, but they're like autos. And so what do you call them? They're these little vehicles going around like mad. So I'm just going to call it what? What do I call them? The golf cart, petrol, rickshaw, taxis, no idea. But it was actually driving along the sidewalk. There was a street right next to the side, this wide sidewalk that it was. Somebody was driving on the sidewalk. So I got out of the way. And some of the statues listed accomplished feats of getting land or religions into different areas. One was of such a giving man that he donated all of his belongings to his tenants. A few listed people doing one thing, but then they were also a poet. One was a great Telugu emperor, and he was also a renowned classical poet. One was a commander of modern Telugu poetry, and the second line read, revolutionary poetry was his forte. Oh man, I love that one. Sorry. And of course, one just said, freedom fighter poet, which really had a nice ring to it. Speaking of the freedom fighter poets or freedom fighters, please give it up for Rhino's open micer. This is Paul Ryan. Paul, my darling! Woo!
Thank you, Janet.
Thank you.
As Janet mentioned, she'll be reading Bob Lawrence and hope some more of you at the Destruction Instructions opening party at the Uptown Arts Center. For you in West Lawrence on February 27th at 7:30 to 10, and we have the place pretty much to ourselves afterwards and play some music, maybe we can dance.
Sweet.
And good, it's nice to be here, and Joffre Stewart is featured, which is a rare thing.
Yay!
And a good thing, and Dan Weinberg here. Very interesting, only here, only in poetry can this happen, and there should be more people. It's just... Dr. Bob Lawrence entitled this one, This Game is Rigged. His arm juts between elapses. Splayed demon hand straight, 4 cards. Your name underneath. He fans the cards. Your name says, pick one. Your name says, nothing. In abeyance of what you leave, waiting in between what nothing says, 4 cards come. Flip one. the jack of plenty of them. Flip, the three of airplanes. Wait, the queen of tissue paper. And last, the ace and deuce of spiders. On a table made for dying on, a plane that stretches to the sun. Instructions is the last book, and the new one is Pine Tree I'm working on. It's fun. I have a friend, the Pine Tree. When everything is dead, there's you again, old friend. Not everything. There's a few scattered stragglers left, shuddering in the southbound wind. But you now stretching out your long arms so graceful, you seem to be picking out invisible things from the cold gray sky. You're happily waving hello to the large gray cold. This huge cold sky snaps the teeth of smaller things. And you so tall and smiling. The crow, the only thing that's darker than you, but she sees what you see, and she's not smiling. And I'm here waving from my window. Hello again. Hello, old friend. Another pine tree. The pine tree left today, left his mark, trembling, etched upon the winter white, pulled himself to the left and left his black eyes hollow. Perhaps we'll get a note from him. Greetings from sunny Spain. Perhaps we'll never know where he goes for secret delight. The pine tree's gone today, and his art shakes like ink upon a paper sky. This ink too shakes to join his art. The pine tree is in the room with me. He talks. I bring him coffee. We look out to where he was, the bright fuse of the afternoon.
Oh, thank you.
Sorry, I look like I was slapping my hands in the air with papers in front of him while I was applauding because I don't know how to. Yeah, lucky you. You get no poetry from me, which is possibly a good thing, but you have to tolerate some more stories. These are a couple more journal entries. I could tell you a story in the Deccan Chronicle about how they found the bodies of 28 women floating in the Pariyar Ghat, that's near the Ganga River. You see, the custom in some cultures there was to put the bodies of unmarried women who died in the river instead of cremating them. This tradition is called Jalprava. And since the water levels of this river had actually receded, bodies, some so old that they'd get decomposed beyond being recognizable, that they actually started to surface. While I was there, women's bodies just started appearing in the river because, you know, they were unmarried. Just throw them in a river instead of What? This is...
Get burned.
Well, my mom was burned, but, you know, that was by choice, but never mind. Anyway, but it's just weird when you hear things like that. What? Just dump a body in the river because they're not married. Why bother dealing with anything? This is my other journal entry. We walked through the streets. Then at one point John said to me, "So you know, all the horn honks aren't for you." Because usually at home, whenever I'd walk or go for a walk along the streets, I'd usually get at least one horn honking, or I'd get cat calls from an open window because men are often base and sexually rude that way. And I laughed and I said, I know that everyone here honks at everything because people cram into any space that they can. Seriously, 1.5 times as many cars will fit in the lanes. What are lanes? What are stop signs? They didn't, you know, that was totally the case, I'm sorry. And they'd do that and they would they wouldn't bother looking at stop signs. I mean, I got it. And it's actually great to watch these cars actually driving when you're a type A person like me and you're not driving. It's great to see the weaving and the fighting that the car driver has to do just to actually be able to get somewhere. But not 15 seconds after he had said that to me, the horn honks aren't for you, that's when I sensed somebody walking behind us. So I signaled to John to move to the side so that they could pass, because as a woman, being followed is usually not a good thing, and I keep track of my surroundings at all times because anything could be a threat. And just after he made these comments about horn honks to me, and just after I let someone walking behind us pass us, then we both watched the man, probably all 5'2" of him, even after he was in front of us, repeatedly turn around to look at me specifically. He would look back to watch where he was walking, and then he'd turn around again, look at me for a second or two, then turn back to watch where he was going again. He did this at least 6 times until John found a side road and motioned me to join him. As soon as we turned, I said, "You did that because of him, didn't you?" And he said yes, and I mentioned that it was funny that just after he said that people aren't honking their horns for me, that's when a man, 10 seconds later, that's when he started continually staring at me. Well, it's nice to see that sexism and men degrading women is still global. These are the things that you would see. You're like, I have to give props. Well, you know, it's one thing when you're walking somewhere and somebody gives a honk and give the finger, because what are you going to do, right? And I'm walking past with a guy that's really effing taller than me, and this guy just keeps... And he just... I'm like, what are you doing? But in the meantime, I think I'm going to have to call up my man, Bob Lawrence. I'm really looking forward to getting a science book from you. Give it up for Bob Lawrence! Woo! My shawl is fine. I just brought she's up way too low. I don't know what to do.
I was stuck in my alley for 15 minutes tonight. But I made it. Here's a poll in progress, and maybe some of you can give me advice on how I should end this. All right, doesn't have a title yet. Hundreds of poets labor on the assembly line of the coinage factory, working double shifts, fusing roots, suffixes, prefixes, random sounds and letters into new words. Smokestacks billow thick, rainy smoke over the mountainside where the factory stands. One morning, a villager wakens to a blizzard, sees pristine snow not yet sullied by soot from the word coinage factory. Stirred by reverence for nature, enraged by its chronic desecration, he heads for the factory. Snowflakes sizzle in the flame of the torch he grasps. He trudges upward into the intensifying storm. The flakes sting his face like tiny knives. At last he nears the summit. He sees a blurry gray shape. A shipwreck? No, the factory. He pounds on the door. He screams into the howling wind, presses the torch against the door. Its thick wood singes. He hurls his body into the door again. The door creaks open. Standing before the torchbearer, a young woman with hair reaching down to her waist. "What are you doing out in this storm?" "Stop spoiling our mountain with your insidious smoke, or else I will round up all the villagers and burn this monstrosity down." "You are sensitive and caring." She reaches her open palm toward his face. He pushes her hand away with a snap of his wrist. "You will not seduce me, even if you slip off your dress and throw your naked body at me." And that's where it ends. Dancing for the Muse. 1. Like my fire words, open up. Words like terrestrial faults, like volcanic shafts. Words themselves, their sound, their meaning, their branches. Metal spiders, hot ice crackling. Crack, smack, slack, track, brack, frack, mack, knack, knock, cock, crock, schlock. Leaves of glass, shards of grass. Fragments of the imagination. Splintering splinters, entropy gone wild. Fissures, wrinkles, ronkles, spunkles, nonsense and non-drawer. Batten down the haunches. I have a hunch for crunch. 2. Valentine's Day. Love makes the world go round? Since when is love inertia? Is love a form of motion? A form of fluid? A form of energy? A form, a vase, a flower? Why are flowers linked with love? Why is heart coterminous with love? Love has its cymbals and its drums. Crazy. Is love the unsettler, the jiver, the jism, the jasm, the flim-flam-sum? Is love the Lovelace of life? Is the love you fake equal to the love you fritter away? Valentine's Day, Varlet's Day, Valet Day, Voluminous Day, Varmint Day, Varmination. 3. The muse is amused by musing and musicality. Movie, moxie, mockery. We are all actors. A magazine personality test says I'm an extrovert now. No more taciturn, no glow Bobby. I can light up a room like an explosion, like a strobe ball, like a laser, like fission and fusion. I can light up a poem like a phosphorescent probe, like glow-in-the-dark creatures at the bottom of the sea, like an X-rated X-ray. I can fire up expectations like a flamethrower or a candle in the night wilderness. Midrash, Torah study. You can unearth the hidden Torah. Stare at the page. Don't waver. Keep staring until the letters flare in auras and the spaces between the lines sink into translucent rivers. Close your eyes. Breathe deeply. Open your eyes. A forest is a good place. Gaze upon the world as if it has just been created. Finally, a haiku. I cannot decide which are lovelier, flowers or stars.
Well, for knowing my science stuff, we're all made of stardust. So, which is lovelier? Flowers or because I feel stupid bad because I think about Rashkow went around tossing around money because I've got this really groovy purple bag here, which is not a drug reference. It's a liquor reference because it's a liquor bag, but that's not what I'm going for. If anybody has not seen this, because I don't know where it's been rotated or not, put your life savings in for 2 great features, which we're going to run right into from Joffre Stewart and Dan Weinberg, and I'm putting money in here, and they're even going to get rupees. Because you could just say that you have them, because they're not going to be of any value to you, but it's kind of cool to have Indian money. So,
Restaurant.
it's like, can I give you tips and rupees? Exactly, or something, I don't know. But I was going to read one thing before I call up,
Grab the doorman to get in. Oh, Janet.
You would? What about before I call up Jerry Pendergast, who's our next reader?
No, I know. This gentleman wanted to see if he had something. Yeah, there isn't going to be one. So he might have left something on the stage.
Oh, come on up. Do you want to look? Go, please. I thought you would come up, please. Oh, come on. No, that's totally cool. That's totally fine. I like it, men what's walking around, but find my cables and crap. Any luck?
Yep, these are mine.
Sweet.
I'm really glad I came.
Glad you were here.
Cool stuff.
So now I'm going to read more crap about India, I guess.
An appearance by the cable guy.
And a bit, my musical master that just came and went. This was on 2 different days. This is on January 17th, 7:40 a.m. IST, or 8 a.m. CST on the 16th. Anyway, this is another journal entry. The one thing I had to get used to quickly here, no, it wasn't the sexism, I'm used to that. It was the idea of the caste system here. That there is this well-off working class, and then there was this lower class of people who work for the middle class people like us. They are the drivers paid to drive you to and from your plant to work. They drive an hour to work, and then they sit and they wait in the car until you're ready, and then they take you home. Or they are in charge to take you driving to and from shopping. We had a driver bring us to a market where they waited in the car until we were done, and then they picked us up and they brought us to the next shopping place where they waited for us to be ready to be driven home. These drivers open your car door for you before you get in as well as when you leave. There is waitstaff here in any restaurant, and they get your food for you, albeit very slowly. Apparently they're not good about speed here. But there are people who clean your hotel room, or they do their laundry. You actually get your laundry done for you. You can talk, you can be friendly with these people, but it is customary to think of them as servants, and you should not be surprised when they act subservient to you. You might not be too fond of the idea of people acting that way around you, but this is customary. This is tradition. Get used to it. Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, get up for Jerry Pendergast. Jerry, we love you.
Happy Black History Month. Happy election season. I ran out of my apartment without putting my button on, but I think presently and in the past, you can tell from the content of my work who I ain't voting for. Anybody got a guess?
I got about 20 guesses.
Yeah, the first 19 don't count. 3 Chicago haikus. Miracle City. A swamp paved over. A current reversed. The dead rising up to vote. February 1983. Hostile looks from 3 guys with letterless buttons. White like a blank page.
Oh, I like that one.
Heard April 1983 on Clark Street bus. I just can't vote for a man who has been to jail from seat behind me. Do I have time to read Chicago street names, historical names, and the black and green connection?
As long as it's not 10 minutes long, you're awesome.
Page and a half. Monroe, 5th President of the United States, hosted dinner, lunch, and sometimes breakfast seminars for rich white guys. Wrote up a doctrine, still used as an excuse to call Latin America and the Caribbean islands our backyard. Employed African Americans. A street in Chicago running east and west. 2300 block, the scene of an assassination in 1969 of one man aged 22, another 21. Clark, a street in Chicago that was once a shoreline, runs north and south. Later a Potawatomi Trail, primarily a commercial street. Mark Clark, assassinated with Fred Hampton. They were officers in the Black Panther Party, Illinois. Helped some gangs negotiate truces. Ran a breakfast program for hungry kids. Assessed as a threat to our nation from an FBI office. Tom Clark, planned the Easter Rising with Padre Pierce in Dublin in 1916, captured and killed by the British Army. Hugh O'Neill, Irish chieftain, led uprisings against British rule. William O'Neill, FBI informant, laced Fred Hampton's dinner drink with barbiturates on the night of the assassination. Hampton Court, street running north and south, close to Lincoln Park, has new luxury apartments on its 2700 block. Edward Hanrahan, Illinois State's Attorney, indicted for raid that killed Hampton and Clark, December 1969. No street is named after him. Thank you, and I hope to see some of you on Friday, February 6th. That's this Friday.
This Friday.
At the Roots Room, 5203 North Kimball, 2 doors south of Merla's, the finest Philippine restaurant on the north side of Chicago. And we'll go to about 10 o'clock. Hope to see you there. Thank you.
I feel bad with the weather. I hope that you're able to get, I think, some of the fun pain that, you know what this weather is for getting people around. I've got one more open micer, Jason. No, but I was going to read one little thing of my one more thing. I'm done with my, at least for tonight, whatever ramblings I do about India for you. This is one thing that I read in the newspaper. I read in the newspaper here that a well-known author in this country who has had a number of books previously published and sold in bookstores nationally under a pen name, he had received threats from the Taliban to never write again. I don't know what they were about. I don't know how it went against the Taliban. All I know is that this well-known writer was threatened by the Taliban to never write again. Well, the author decided to release a statement to announce that his pen name of his was now dead, in quotes, and that they would never write again. He also wrote that his name will never come back to life to write later, and he will ask his publisher to stop printing all of the previously published writings, and the author would pay for any potential losses that the publisher would have for doing this. I know that recently terrorists went to a satirical newspaper in Paris's offices and killed people who made fun or made any commentary about Muhammad. But this little blurb in the newspaper brought the news home to me that even the threat of violence to someone can squelch a writer. A writer's freedom to write can be stopped with a threat. And it frightened me that in this right environment, a writer can even ask that all of his past writings be removed because of a threat. I know I live in a country where I can speak my mind, and I am grateful for that. It was just a shocking reminder that not all people feel that cushion for their freedoms, and it frightens me that a writer anywhere has to try to remove their writing from the world. And for the most fundamental levels, it was an injustice that breaks my heart. That's why I say that. Thank you. For us writers, I thought you would get, I'd be like, what? I'll just get rid of my writing, please. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for our last one micro that I've got scheduled up. Give it up for Jason. No, Jason, no! This was my attempt to be dressing for India because you aren't allowed to show your legs, so even if you wear a skirt, you have to have leggings on and you have to cover your shoulders.
I knew there was a reason.
There was a
I wanted to go to India because I don't like showing my legs either. No, even in summertime, I'm in tights and.
It's like 80 degrees out. I'm wearing pants. I'm like, what?
Oh, I wear long johns in July. I mean, I don't want anybody seeing my legs.
I wear a snowsuit in July.
Well, thank you, everybody. It's always so lovely to be here at the Gallery Cabaret. Thank you. And
what is your feature? You have a feature. What is it this
oh, it's like 4 months from now, so at this point I'm only running 15 minutes late for that one. And
June 10th.
June 10th,
June 10th. I see it in the schedule.
the schedule.
On the schedule.
June 10th. No, I'm going to be here on time for that. In fact, I am like calling in for everything else. Like I'm going offline and everything for that. And for today, I have to do something that I don't usually do, which is apologize. Because, well, you know, that's just a waste of time. But this is truly disgusting and humiliating. And a few of you have already heard it and get to be disgusted again, but relish in my humiliation. But Janet hasn't heard this yet, so that's why I have to continue sharing it with everybody, because it's just far too humiliating, and I'm German, and 2 + 2 =. So, you know, because I believe in perpetuating my own naivete, you know, I'm like 35, and I still write letters to Santa Claus.
Oh,
Sweet.
that's nice.
You're old enough to be president, young man.
You got a couple of years,
Oh.
but then you will be. It's 37, right?
No, 35.
I thought it was 37.
If I get fired from my job, maybe I'll run next.
Yeah,
Awesome.
do it.
Yeah, I'd have to get up early for it.
That's a good reason to not be president.
I mean, if they were to call me at 3 a.m. with a crisis,
I'd be all
Not
over it.
AM person.
Oh.
Yay!
I mean, my alarm clock didn't even wake me up, but
Reagan slept all afternoon, for Christ's sake.
Nothing wrong with
yeah, but
that.
I'm not a Republican, so I can't be like that here. I'd have to hire somebody else to be president for me while I was
Sweet.
sleeping.
Sweet.
So, but yeah, anyway, you know, I write letters to Santa Claus, and this year Santa Claus actually wrote me back.
Awesome.
Yeah, you'd think, right? Until I opened it up and actually read it, and I had to actually transcribe it in my own book here, as it disintegrated into like sparkling glitter shit as I was reading it, and that's how I know it was authentically from Santa Claus. So I wrote Santa Claus a letter. I asked for one thing, only one thing, and this is what Santa Claus wrote me back. Dear Jason, for future reference, some specifications would be quite helpful for ensuring the obligatory material validation of your white American privilege. There were many selections and varieties to choose from, and your simple request for a new dildo was vaguely applicable to every available item. Contrary to popular belief, I do not see you sleeping or in bed or watch you at all, and therefore I myself am not privy to your size preference, nor do I have knowledge of how many fingers you use. The word around town is you are loose enough for 2 or 3 at a time. I was concerned that a wild guess would result in an item either too thin or too thick, the latter causing potential internal damage and the former causing potentially aggravated frustration. This particular request is not one I would feel comfortable presenting as a mere surprise me gift. Love, Santa.
Aww.
Well, at least Santa send love. And there's a little P.S. because, you know, Santa knows everybody. P.S. Will you please call Jesus back? I cannot get that fucking nympho off my ass about how you never return phone calls unless you're out of alcohol. Oh, and God says he still hates fags, but he likes your style.
Yes!
You know the really fucked up part is, you know what I asked Santa for? I asked Santa for world peace, and that is the letter Santa wrote me back. I mean, kill your idols if you got a spear or something. Thank you, everybody.
All right, other people are, but I know.
Nothing to do with his request.
He said as other people heard it. But now, because we are like the NSA and try to record everything that we do to broadcast you everywhere, at least now the world will have access to that wonderful piece that you just did, Jason. Thank you very, very much. I'm going to go straight into our first feature. He gave me this to talk about weeds, which was awesome, but all I could think about, other than the weeds show, is that they've got, you know, pictures of a woman having her headdress covered and everything, until somebody stripped it down to nothing. And it was making me think of the Muslim world taken to a new extreme, because that's what I've seen for the past couple of weeks. But what I want to say is that this man's not a political poet, but he's an anti-political poet. Ladies and gentlemen, please, please give it up for a great feature from Joffre Stewart!
Out of attempt 7, this first one I heard the tune for when it came out, and then in the 80s it was on the box here, and so it revives my memory. So, title, with regards to Louis Prima. Obama, the CIA is he. Obama, more terror wars to be. Obama, blind to conspiracy, to sabotage 2 Gotham Towers for Zion's hegemony. Obama, he votes for Condi Rice. Obama, Wall Street thinks he's nice. Obama stands up for Israel, the atomic bomb and all that fun that takes us straight to hell. Obama stands presidentially tall. Obama, but will he draft us all? Obama would head a sorry state, 2 million souls, half them black, behind the prison gate. Obama, whatever taxes due, Obama, he will to them be true. Obama, he'll levy and collect for border cops and special ops, which Kissinger eyes neglect. Border cops, special ops, postmodern disrespect.
Wow.
Today would be a birthday for Rosa Parks.
Yeah.
The title is Taking a Stand. 1 week before Mubarak resigned, 4 weeks before Fukushima Ash Wednesday, if I can trust a Catholic worker calendar that puts Easter Sunday on the Monday after Palm Sunday, Rosa Parks was born a year before the start of that first great war for Israel. Her coming out year being the year Joffre was assassinated to ensure the war would happen. Not unlike the murder of Huey Long, suspected also for ensuring that second great war for Israel. A readiness to register blacks to vote notwithstanding. Rosa was not a single mom, and other characteristics of NAACP respectability made her choice to rally behind when she kept her behind in place, denying a white man whose name has not been married to her narrative. Her worthy, calculated stubbornness got so many people out of their seats and walking that it occasioned me to a car ride to meet Martin Luther King and, like other pacifists, try to talk him into being radical. But he was a student of the theologian who got the flag in the church to get German Americans to kill Germans in the war started the year after Rosa was born. How we are entangled in the web of history. I knocked over the flag in the Second Unitarian Church, but we've got to do better than that. Also, two idolatrous rags may have a stand in synagogues. Do Anabaptists shirk the flag or shirk God? As a mere reader cannot see, I take my stand on liberty. I've not been enough a Muscovite to know what goes there, but Rosa went from jail on to the office of John Conyers, still on the mend, behind his unrelentingly fruitless efforts to get reparations. Should blacks have bombed Pearl Harbor? Boko Haram might not be kidding. I met Rosa once, but she didn't appreciate me getting in line to give her a leaflet. And so it comes to this. As sunless tensions mount for Ferguson to explode. And next is a haiku, no title. Some churches have mass, but altogether no critical mass for peace. And the title, is Charlie Hebdo a crock? The epigraph is from Sherman Skolnick, who was reported murdered by Mossad 8 years ago last May. Report from an anonymous source. New York City firemen, there were bombs in the building. Cyberspaceorbit.com. Crucial info evidence. Explosives toppled WTC. In the rhetoric of news blather, the equation is made betwixt 9/11 and the sudden death of 12. Who could draw irony from the tip of the pen? But since it is well established anywhere but the mouthpieces of the establishment that 9/11 is a hoax and a fraud, what does mass do for mass murderers, exploiting the deaths of 12, putting a Republican-type murderer of 2,100 Gazans on parade for liberté, égalité, fraternité, denied more than ever to Palestinians as they seek membership in an international court? One of the gunmen, now being entertained by a chorus of belly dancers, saw through the hoax and fraud of Grounds Zero, according to his mother, and which became one of his motivations for dropping his polite friends for jihadist friends, and feebly imitate Obama, dropping 500-pound predation on that reused Pentagon hardware in devastated Syria. Which is not to say that the jihadist acts were not managed in deep conspiracy. For how can you tell all the excuses for the failure of security from signatures for the conspiracy management that produced the event, as with 9/11? Forewarnings don't stop a conspiracy that moves gold into Building 5 before Moshe El-Makis and Dominic Sutter can truck in the explosives for the targets that yield Larry Silverstein $7 billion and no Goldfinger caper. And I do notice, if you don't, that the names are Jewish. A conspiracy in your face can go through the news indistinguishable from genuine events. This poem is working if it only leaves you more skeptical than before. Thus, is that tear of Muhammad, who knows what he looked like, on the 1 million copies cover of Charlie Hebdo, a crock? The next one. The next one's gone through several revisions. This is how it stands now. The title is Passing for White. Julius Lester kills Palestinians by becoming a Jew. Most people do it by looking the other way. Everywhere made poetry safe for Israel. Guild Complex once did drop me from their mailing list. Where is Guild Complex? Some Chicago anarchs have their Zionist complex. I should say most of them. The Wobbs won't let me sing with them. Solidarity forever. Liberals, Roman, call the cops on my nonviolence. Protestant liberals have it thrown in jail. I am indebted to a Nazi for truth about the New York Times. Hillbillies tell me they want not to become America's Palestinians. The Jews closed my College of Complexes, said the friendly Irishman, only 1/4 human, and who suppressed me at and fired me for reading poetry. I've had friendly chat with Cicero Nazis who didn't want the Jewish leadership of Marquette Park Nazis. My minister, Prosper, was a favorite at meetings of the Virginia Klan. How many Nazis might I know who hate Jews but not blacks? C.J. Laity in the trenches for Israel. Broke a promise to open mic me made a year before because of what I might say. And now Peter from jail wants me to correct my oppressive white male behavior demonstrated by this poetry. And the title here is Poetry, and the epigraph would be the same as you heard, but Skolnick goes for a variation. Skolnick goes to http://people.aol.com/17459, 00.18592-3, New York Fire Department's chief arson investigator said on TV on 9/12/2001 that internal explosives were used to bring down the WTC towers. In 4 parts. 1. Sprite names an anarchist who does not like to see me burn the flag. Odd, but worse. Burning that Rashkow branded anti-Palestinian rag. Sprite shut me out of anarchist meetings. I can never be a Jew. I'm an atheist. Sprite was part of the leadership that shut me out of anarchist protest for the 1996 Democratic Convention. Their rights to peaceably assemble smashed by the cops, perhaps saving me some grief. And Sprite was one of those who dragged me off the anarchist stage at Spertus because I scanned lines critical of Israel, an anarchist movement owned by Jerusalem. 2. And Sprite would not be too bright, but only as part of the rest, even best, of what passes for revolution, whatever, embedded in the White House lie of 9/11, defaming Osama bin Laden, not taking 9/11 truth into committed position papers, commitment kept public in print, posters, publishing speeches, and on the streets, a left embedded with the right as part of that post-9/11 world, instead of disrupting patriotics and confronting the mediated consensus, subversively manufacturing consent. 3. And Sprite turns up again. The day after Glenn Beck and Sarah Palin tried to replace Martin Luther King at the Lincoln Memorial as a cold candidate belonging to the Coca-Cola gang, murdering labor organizers in Colombia. I was on the northwest corner of the protest spot, yards from where Route 66 begins, leafleting tax resistance to Obama caring for CIA creations in Afghanistan, when a man in friendly broken English gave me some food that must have been allotted to that morning's triathletes, only one of whom seemed interested in my peace works. This was close to the time when one of my poems brought me to the attention of a woman whose son does publicity for Vijay Iyer. In the collection of triathletic leftovers was a cold can of it, tempting for a day in the 90s, but since it belonged to that sprightly Coca-Cola gang of assassins, I boycotted, in keeping with the wishes of those suffering under Plan Colombia. Like a can of Coke given to seniors by the mayor, I only have use for it in poetry.
Whoa.
And poetry pours for the boycott of Israel. What started as a labor sympathetic boycott, South America, becomes a Palestinian sympathetic boycott, Middle Eastern. 4. And if the lines above don't work, failing as the high art of literature, Shall I pour poetry again? And again, and I have to remind those Coke-drinking labor radicals that they have a boycott now, plural. DePaul is more on the ball than Marxist. Again, until boycotts end, ending a Zionist Jerusalem, what thinkest thou?
And that was that Larry Lyon? Oh, no. I want to drink that. Come here. No, I don't. But what I want you to do is come over here. Not because I want to walk on a flag. Come here. Put your arm around me. Ladies and gentlemen, we didn't know what an ending was. I don't think it was loud enough. Please give it up for Joffre Stewart. Yeah, I think would you like your flag?
Well, anybody can stand on it. I don't.
Yeah, no, well, you know, I wasn't saying because it was your flag. I was just trying to. That was awesome. I look over and I'm like, Bob, I'm like, that's performance art. That was awesome. And thank you very much. And you'd think that's over because I would normally be talking about upcoming features, but this is a thing that I had a problem with because when I came here, I'm like, I forgot to bring anything from my magazines to talk about the current issue that was out, and at the same time, I don't have anything for the past issues, like this man who has appeared in past issues of CC&D, and I believe, I can't remember for sure, but he might be in the 2015 calendar. I'm not positive. But I really love hearing this guy's stuff that he comes up with. And what's really funny is that recent times I've been writing things that are like haiku-like stuff, and you try to get a lot of stuff out in just a little bit of something that's really, really awesome. And I don't know how much of his stuff is going to be long or it's going to be short, but I'm so looking forward to feature number 2, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Please give it up for Dan Weinberg. Come on!
Thank you. That was something, Joffre. I won't forget it. This is a poem by Alexander Bloch, or based on a poem by Alexander Bloch called The Strange Lady from 1920. In the fading sunlight, the heavy air about the schools is both foreboding and weighty, and angry accusations are controlled by the air of autumn.
You need help?
Around the pictorial site of expressways where boring suburban ticky-tacky bungalows, the shiny, large running shoe of the shoemaker always swaying in the wind, and young ones don't and can't figure it out. Every darkness past the street is an area of no lights, and the dandies of great reputation with their natty dress are impressive. This is called Last Train to Nirvana. I park the car quietly on Richmond Street and take the 155 to Loyola. Then I catch the 147 bus to Michigan and Randolph. The car will never know how I feel. The South Shore 655 is sitting there empty, After disgorging commuters from Indiana, we get on the stock trader and the Mexican food store worker. The radio or TV do not contaminate the air today. Quiet is the old train car. Only train wheels over tracks make noise. Swaying, the train is unsteady. The train goes faster, the trees blur, houses melt. But they will never know me. No little girls, no little sisters getting hit by train. Today the train is not going directly to Auschwitz or Treblinka. Today Bronzeville, Hyde Park, Hedgewish, Hammond, East Chicago, Clark Road, and then Gary Metro. 1 block away from the Gary Public Library, Maine. Who can know me today? The conductor asks. Everybody to leave the train. Final stop. The electric wires above the train work perfectly today, but no one knows the electric wires. This slavery was a common thing about 1800, but there was a revolution in Haiti. Yeah, Jerry knows. Jews liked the history of Haiti and the slaves winning over the slaveholders. She saw book burnings in 1934 Berlin and sat in the Jewish seats at the rear of the class. Roosevelt and Hitler shared a schnapps in a Manhattan and let a few Jewish children to live free. C'est la vie, Michiganers, Putzes, Oi Gewalt. Jewish names explode from earth and disperse to the sky. Names that are lost under rocks and on mountains. Goldberg, Weinberg, Steinberg, Gold Mountain, Vineyard, Stone Mountain.
Do you need help with reading?
No, I can see. I'm all right. Paul, you here? Yeah, you, Paul Ryan. He wrote a poem. He wrote a poem about Don Juan at Walmart. So I wrote a poem about Sancho Panza at Target, but I changed it to just me at Target.
Okay.
Since I guess I have a lot in common with Sancho Panza. Pancho Sanza? Pancho Sanzo.
Sancho Panza.
No, Pancho Sanzo.
Okay, whatever.
And Don Quixote. All right, for peace at Target. I am in Target in the soft towel section, aware of the congruity of the shelves, one after the other. I reach for the washcloths, but I can't explain their washness. I reach for the dish towels, but instead, here comes anarchy. I will either demonstrate at Logan Square for peace or disappear. I am a creature who protests 24/7, 365. When strangers ask clerks for help, no one runs up and offers oxygen or an olive branch. I ponder peace. One unexploded nuclear bomb lays on aisle 9A on sale. Very popular. I walk past and admire. I keep protesting for peace. The sanity of the city depends on me. I raise my sign higher. Clown for peace. Target falls, as does silence. Thank you. Peace is not very popular these days, or I guess peace has never been popular. There's been. You like peace?
I like peace.
Poets like peace. That's good. It's very popular here. at the Gallery Cabaret.
But does God like peace?
God,
He seemed to
I
want
hope-
to smite a lot of people.
Yeah.
Some Ukrainian
what's up
like
with that?
this.
right.
I
Some.
don't know.
Oh,
So,
that smiting way.
so in peace and war, there's a lot of death. So this is called Hallelujah.
Oh.
Come death, I welcome you with open arms, wide-eyed, nose breathing. Take my hand, lead me to nirvana. I want to see this world from the other side, from the moment of birth, through infantine, babbling like a nar, like a pea in the pod, up to playing games, to touching this and that, making babies, like a smoking schmuck, run like a blind clown. Now walking is difficult. I could sit on my front porch in my rocking chair and smoke a Cuban cigar, but I don't have a front porch, and I haven't smoked in 30 years. Come death, you wily old Michiganer. Are you afraid of me? What have you got to lose? That was some new stuff. I got some older things. The ghost of Jake the Bum slides through the alley, picking up good cigarette butts and looking out for the fuzz. He finds a few smokables and rumbles back to the red 57 Chevy and turns the key. The engine turns over and Jake drives straight back to Wicker Park for a decent meal and a meeting with the angels and other assorted friends to talk about revolution and the price of gas. I guess I should get a book together, publish a book, my own
Yeah,
stuff.
good idea.
Yeah, good idea. Yeah.
Somebody need to help you.
No, I'll just do it myself. Always running.
No, you need help.
When I was a child, I was nowhere, always running, always in the doorways,
Publishing.
waiting for the police to pounce after shoplifting from Kmart. Always guilty, always last, always lost, always Jerusalem, always Jew. At the music therapy, listening with 4 ears, Bessarabian Russian Jew and a German Jew for parents. What a combo, a daily double. A child can see forever, can see for miles, can see Auschwitz and or Treblinka, can see America not caring. Okay, I guess everybody has a past.
Not me.
No? Oh, okay. You're the only one, Janet.
Nice girls just have a history.
Okay. So this is called selective mutism. There was a kid in elementary school, David Sosnowski was his name, who was always alone and always sitting in the last row. He never spoke in any class, almost like talking was against the law for him. He never spoke in the halls or in the playground either. Wonder what happened to him. Did he ever speak or did he die silent as a mouse? Good question. Okay, love. Love is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Loving you is so good and gooey, like a melted Belgian chocolate with rum inside. Love is stronger than any nuclear bomb or killer drone. Love is stronger than Sesame Street. Love is stronger than a barrel of oil. Love can see around corners and be below the surface of the ocean. Love is stronger than all the wars for oil. Love is stronger than loud, ignorant people or quiet, scared people. Okay, I guess the first Jewish president of the United States of America.
Yay! Yay!
I guess there was going to be a Jewish vice president, but the Supreme Court didn't want it.
You want to run
Do I want to run?
for vice president, maybe?
Sure. Tomorrow. Okay, so the first Jewish president. Oi Gewalt, Lokschen Kugel, egg matzah, fried chicken, matzah ball soup, kreplach soup, bagels, knish, gay and drert, was magsta, ich hub der Bud, Zimmes, Weis Bier, Stottekoi, sei gesund, Schlugger Heus, Bobby and Zadie, Stettel Ghetto. The Chicago Public Library security guard told the lady she had to remove her coat from her head so the camera could see her. The lady said she couldn't because of Treblinka and Bergen-Belsen. The guard looked perplexed and kept on going, and the lady kept the coat on her head.
Wow.
It's true. True story.
Wow.
Okay. 1967 was, in the summer, was the summer of love. So this is called Summer and Sleep. Summer of Love, 1967. Summer of Hate, 1968. Summer of Disruption, 1969. Summer of Vietnam Protest, 1970. Summer of Official Murders, 1971. Summer of Government Interference, 1972. Summer of 1st September 11th, 1973.
Yeah.
Summer of Lawyers, 1974. Summer of 1975 is just the summer. Summer of Filled Prisons, 1976. Summer of Resistance, 1977. Summer of 1978. Summer of Eating Peanut Butter and Jelly Sandwiches, 1979. Summer of 1980. Summer of Reaganomics, 1981. Summer of Trickle Down, 1982. Summer of Star Wars Missiles, 1983. Summer of Macintosh Computer, 1984. Revolting is the wall. How can we wail and scratch the path? Devise solutions with hands, draw pictures of desperation. Eyes drip of pepper and cinnamon. Sleep is a stranger, a long-lost friend who stands in line for an autograph. Theories of morning, day, evening seem to fade with the sun into a blanket of time. Love escapes through the skylight and sits at the desk winking. What am I writing about? I don't know. Multitudes aghast at the new snow and new faces. Pregnant with sweet milk that gives a jolt and hope to this disorganized symphony. Sleep caves in on the mountain of dreams, aware of the background. Stoplights blinking way too fast. Sleep can't understand politics or music, but eats from the hand of icy sidewalks. Sleep and love are neighbors who coexist on red and yellow couches. Okay. All right, so this is a little political. This is called Important Meeting. This is the meeting to decide what to do with Afghanistan after we leave. 1, we don't really leave. 2, we tell everyone we have left. 3, we stay for 100 more years. 4, continue to torture and bomb Pakistan and Iraq and Syria, and, well, you get the idea. 5, we stay to be close to Iran and Russia and China. 6, we declare us to be bringing democracy to Afghanistan. 7, we deny in the media that we lost. We say our goals morphed. 8, we say nothing about oil or the price of gasoline.
Yeah, right.
Never, ever.
Yeah, right.
Number 9, we make sure about number 8. 10. We say this war is paid for by your taxes. Thank you for paying taxes. 11. Discussion of drone targets. Do we use them in New York City, LA, Chicago? As tests to target drug dealers, pot smokers, people with bad attitudes, peace protesters, anyone who gave us a bad look in the past 25 years. Loiterers, all discuss pros and cons. 12. Are we getting this all down? Recorded for posterity. Filmed. Okay. How much time we got? A little bit more?
You got one or two more, you good.
Okay. I got some short stuff. An acrostic is a alphabetic kind of thing, I think. Acrostic. So this is about clowns. Antebellum clown, black clown, colonized clown, demonized clown, esteemed clown, free clown, great clown, holy clown, integrated clown, juvenilized clown, king clown, love clown, minority clown, natural clown, overseer clown, proud clown, quick clown, racist clown, Slavic clown, true clown, ultimate clown, violent clown, white clown, x-ray clown, your clown, Z clown.
Really good. Very good.
I saw that movie, Dr. Strangelove, recently.
Oh, okay.
That's pretty good. Anyways, so George C. Scott is General Turgidson. Ha ha, atomic war is so funny. Premier Kissoff, head of Russia. Ha ha, oi Gewalt. Nuclear war is so cool, Dr. Strangelove. Yay, Hollywood. Dream Factory. General Ripper says, war is too important to be left to the politicians.
Yeah, it's true.
Oi Gewalt. All right. They're half black, half white, half German Jew, half Russian Jew, half Mexican, half Jewish, half fights half. Which half wins? Does there have to be a winner? Why can't we all just get along?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I don't think that was loud enough. Get up, one more time with this one! These guys work like everybody didn't work there. Awesome. Thank you very much. That was so awesome. And I just wanted to say, if you didn't think that those two features related, he talked about 1993, the first 9/11, and then I thought there were bombs in the building, and I thought, I'm like, I can bring them all together somehow if I'm going to pull it off. This was so really awesome, hearing the both of you perform tonight, I swear to God. And now, here is the obligatory time where we talk about upcoming features, because you didn't get to hear this last time. In 2 weeks on February, I'm looking at January, February 18th, that's March. February 18th is Jackie Walk. Oh my gosh, she's never here, and that's really awesome that I'm going to get Jackie Walk here. Oh my God, I'm so triple plus pleased. And in March, we've got the Janine Ravisley Tom Ruby a month filled, because on March 4th, 1 month from now, is Janine Ravisley. On the 18th is Tom Ruby. Oh yeah, rock on with that. And then the next one after that is, guess what? April Fool's Day. Who would you expect other than Sid Yiddish? But there's a double feature night. We're also going to have Dallas Malice that's performing there, which is triple plus cool. And I'm just going to spin because I'm so excited with that. And I can go on with more and more stuff with Susan Moss. Oh Oh my God, Paul Ryan's here in the end of April. But you know, if you want to know anything about the schedule, you can also look online, www.chaoticarts.org/thecafe for the Cafe Gallery. And you can find anything out about the schedule, or if you find an email, come and bug me, or just come up here more often. I tell all you all this stuff. And thank you all so very much. And I really, really look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks for the Jackie Wells feature. Thank you, thank you, thank you.